Welcome back to our top 9 game for the month of September now. So we have started October and it's time to look back into what did we play during the month of September. So first let's start with the stats. I have played 41 times with 32 different games. 25 of them were my own copies. So that's 2%? No. Oh, the percentage is not on there. I was going to say 2% of my game collection. That's pretty low. But yeah, so let's get into it. So number 9 position is Thieves Market. This one is a neat one. I bought this, or it was given to me. It's had heard anything about it at all, but it looked cool. So it had dice and then different cards, so it looked interesting. And this is kind of a cool one. So you have all these dice and you roll them up, and they'll have different gems on them. And so they'll have gems that have like some that are money bags, like gold bags, and then there's some that's the victory points. And then you'll take on your turn dice that you want for yourself. And you take as many dice as you want. And then the next person will have the option to take dice for themselves, either from what's left in the middle that you didn't take, or you could take what they've taken for themselves. You would take those dice, put them in front of you. You have to roll one back into the middle. So when you're selecting your dice, you're trying to pick, you're trying not to get too greedy, because if what's in front of you is very attractive, you know you're not keeping it. So you try not to be too greedy. It's like, yeah, this would serve me, but there's a lot of good stuff left over here. You probably don't want to touch this. So, and you go around until everybody has some dice in front of them. Once everybody's kind of ended up with some dice, then we go ahead and we purchase the cards. So you have 3 different levels. So the smaller levels will be kind of a little bit easier to purchase. So they'll be cheaper. And then the later levels, they'll require a little bit more. And then you'll spend your dice. So be like, okay, well, I have a diamond and a ruby, which allows me to take this card. And this card allows me to change any emerald into any other gems that I want. So then it starts giving you the ability to manipulate your dice a little easier. So you'll buy that, and then everybody goes ahead and buys a card. Then it all kind of goes back into the middle. You re-roll the dice and you go again because you've refilled the market as well. And so the money bags, when you get the money bag, gets transformed into a coin, and that coin allows you to, as a wild, so it's like, okay, well, I need a ruby and an emerald, but I don't have any emerald and I don't have any dice that can be converted. So I'll use a ruby and I'll spend a coin for the emerald. So then you can buy the card that you want. And you'll keep doing this until you run out of cards and you've gone to level 3, and then you tally up all the points, and whoever has the most points is the winner. It's such an interesting game with the dice selection. Be like, hey, okay, well, I really would like this and this and this and this. But I think they'll come after me if I take all that. So I'm going to leave these behind, put this here. And then it's an interesting mechanism that I hadn't really kind of come across. So kind of the don't be greedy, right? But try to get what you need. So really neat game. Then in number 8 position is Hollywood Blockbuster. Now this game by Reiner Knizia, it has been published under different names. Nightmare Production is one of them, and a few other names, but it's basically all the same games. And this one is so neat. And it's a bidding game. So everybody starts with so many contracts that you kind of keep behind your little board. And you go from one kind of space to the next, and then you bid. So it'll be like, okay, so this one is the director, but it's a director that's very renowned, so it gives you lots of points. And then you can bid at whatever many contract, and you go around and say, well, I'll bid 2 now, I'll do 3, and it's like, well, I'm ready to do 5, and so on. You go until there's a winner. Now the contracts that they bid gets divided up between the other players that haven't won the bid. So then if you didn't bid and win anything, you actually get more contracts for the next bidding. And then that person that won takes that tile and they get to add it into one of their movies. So you have the different movies you're trying to accomplish, and you'll need a director, you'll need an actor, you'll need sound effect and visual effect and all this type of things. And then once you've kind of completed all the aspect of the movie, then you get to score the movie. Now, if you're the first one to complete the drama, then you're going to get that award. And at the end of each round, after you've kind of gone through all the bidding, and then you score for, who has the best drama and who has the best comedy and all the other type of movies that's on there. What's really neat with this game is the puns. So you can tell they've based this on actual actors and actual movies, but they've changed it enough that it's not their actual name. So they have Nicholas Rage, they have Demi Les, they have Leonardo DiCappuccino, and different things like that. It's funny. And it was a really neat, simple, straightforward game to play. And then, yeah, at the end, whoever has the most points with the movies they've completed is the winner. Then, in number 7 position is High Society. I haven't heard lots about this one, because I didn't know how it played. But this is one that I've heard mentioned multiple times. So when the opportunity came for me to purchase my own copy, I did. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute. The money card specifically looks a lot like, what is that bidding game where you're buying properties? Oh, it's gonna bug me now that I'm trying to get to it. I won't remember. But in this game, it looks very similar, but it's not. It's very different. And the way that it works is everybody has their own sets of money. So you'll notice in that picture I'm holding to the blue, and you'll notice that there's some red ones on the table. So you all get your own set of money, and you're buying prestige. You're trying to create a prestigious life and spending money buying a mansion or a boat, or it could be a horse, or and depending on what you acquire, it has a different level of prestige that it's going to give you. And you're trying to become one of the most prestigious family, but you don't want to be the one with the least amount of money, because having no money is very just really that creates a big stain on your popularity, I guess, in society. So you're buying all these things, and then once it comes to scoring, you check, okay, who has how much money left? Whoever has the lowest amount of money left is eliminated from the game. So whoever's left then tallies up all the prestige points of all the things they've accumulated, and whoever has the most prestige is the winner of High Society. Such a neat game. We played it. It was a lot of fun because you're spending. You can bid whatever you want, but and some of the cards are negative. So it'd be like your mentioned burns, and you're gonna lose half of your prestige points. Well, that's not good. And then you're bidding on this card, and you're trying to avoid buying the card. So whoever gets out of the bid first takes the card. Everybody else, whatever money you've put in, that money goes away. So you don't want to put too much money in that you lose a lot of money over not buying this card, but you also don't want to just be taking these negative cards. And there's a few negative cards like that in the game. It was so neat, so interesting. I'm really pleased with this one. Then the next, in number 6 position, I have Blue Moon City. This is a Reiner Knizia game. It's one that's been around for a long time. I've heard of it, and then I just had never had the chance to play it. And this is neat. So basically, the city's been destroyed, and you're rebuilding it. And you're trying to kind of get the recognition for rebuilding it. And if you build a certain segment, so each location will require so many segments to be built in order to become fully built. But in order to be able to build a segment, you'll have different things, and you'll notice there's different colored squares there that have different values. So to the one in the middle there with the red 4 and the red 3. So if you have cards in your hands that have a value of 4, you can spend that while your little, it's like a tower thing, while your little tower is there, and then you get to put your cube on that you've built this one segment of this city. Now, if the dragon is on site and they notice you building this city, they reward you by giving you a golden scale. And there's so many golden scale in the game, and once they're all handed out, whoever has the majority gets so much gems. And then second position gets a little bit less gems, but then these gems are spent to kind of take possession of the different place in this specialty tower that you're building as well. And that's also the goal of the game, is trying to build as most as you can on there, and whoever has majority there is the winner. But such a neat game, and you're moving around, you're trying to move the dragons so they can come and witness you doing the actions there. Once the location is built, it's going to provide rewards. Whoever built on there is going to receive a second level reward, but if you have the majority, then you get also the main reward, and then the card flips over. And then if you build anything that's surrounded by one of those flipped cards, when you complete this one, you also gain the reward of the completed stuff around it. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. It was neat to play. It was easy to teach, easy to learn, but there's a lot to think about and consider while you're playing it. Then in number 5 position, I have Land versus Sea. I've played this one with my stepdaughter. I've played this one with my youngest son. And it's neat. It's a simple game. It often gets compared to Carcassonne because you are adding tiles where you have to match up the background, and it's gonna because you can't just put a half a city that's touching the field, so you got to match it up and create this map that you will score on. So when you finish a cluster of land, or if you finish a cluster of sea, you get to score a point for every tile that is in that cluster. Now there's also little X, there'll be white X and black X that you'll get to score extra points for as well. One player is playing as the land, one player is playing as the sea, so you're trying to create the clusters for what you are, and trying to extend the other clusters before they can close them down on the other things for the other player, so that they don't get to score on those. But if you make it too big and they manage to close it, then it's going to be worth a lot of points. It's a really neat game. I've only played this at 2 players. There's a 3-player variant and a 4-player variant that I haven't looked into yet, but it was neat. So that was Land versus Sea. Then in number 4 position, I have Secret Hitler. My kid had played this at a friend's house, and he's like, "Mom, if you ever come across Secret Hitler, we need to get that game." So I was at FalCon, and they were selling a copy there, and then at one point they were playing, there was a group of people playing it as well, and it was funny because it started, you had a couple people sitting there, half an hour later you came back to that same table, and the number of people watching or playing this game had tripled. So you could tell this was a really interesting game that really attracted a crowd. So in this one is you're playing and you're on one of the teams. So you're either on the Liberals team, or you're on the fascist team with a Hitler. And one person will be Hitler, the other one will be kind of part of the Hitler team, and everybody else is going to be on the liberal team. And as a liberal, you are trying to pass liberal laws in this government. As person, either Hitler or a person on Hitler's team, you're trying to pass these fascist laws and trying to get Hitler to be part of the presidency or the government, voted in as a government when you've passed so many. And so the way that it works is you're going to take turn being the president. So you have the president in front of you, and you're going to vote or select somebody to be your counselor. I think it's counselor. Possible I have the term wrong. So be like, okay, so it's me, and I'm going to suggest that we put Patrick as a counselor, and everybody's going to vote under whether, yes, they think that should be the government, or no, they don't think this is a team that should be a government. And then if we got voted no, it goes to the next person. If we're voting yes, then the president will pick up 3 cards for policies to vote in. Now, you don't know what these 3 cards in. Everybody else does know, you're looking at them. And if you're on the liberal side, ideally you would try to pass in a liberal law. If you're on the fascist side, then you would try to place one of those laws through. So you're going to have so many. Now, it could be that they're all fascist laws and there's no liberal there, but you can't say anything. Or it could be that there's a combination of both. So you're going to discard one face down and then pass the rest to the the chancellor. I really think I've got that term wrong. So they're going to look at them, and then there's going to discard one, and there's going to reveal the one that gets voted in. So let's say they pass a fastest law. I'm like, okay, is it that you're on the fastest side and you're trying to get Hitler in? Or are you a liberal that didn't have any options because you got handed all fascist policies and it's really the president that's the bad guy? Or are you both liberals? So it's kind of trying to figure out who's on what team. And once you've reached 3 policies on the fastest side now, if Hitler is ever voted in as the chancellor, then they automatically win. So you don't want that to happen. And for the liberal side, you're trying to pass in enough policies that you reach that last one with the dove, and then you win the game that way. It's interesting. I suck at these games because everybody looks so suspicious. So we're playing, and my sister was like, yeah, I don't trust you. And Patrick didn't seem trustworthy as well. He was doing some shady things, and so was Lee. But there's only 2 fascists in this particular game, and the rest of us should be liberals. So I've got 3 people that look really suspicious. So it's interesting. Turns out my sister was Hitler. Neat game. It's a fun activity to do. It's a neat game. So that was, and you got to be a bigger group. I think it's like 5 to 10 players that they recommend for playing this game. So this is definitely one that's for more like a party scene. Then in number 3 position is Adrenaline. I played this with my sister and my nephew. They came over. It's her copy, so she brought it over. We kind of read the rules, learned it. And this is so neat. It's a battle arena, and you're a character, and I don't know if we're all robots or some of them were robots, but you're going around this arena, and you spawn in a specific location. Now, each spawn location also have an armory that you can select and purchase weapons from. Now, when you're buying it from the armory, they're a little bit of a discount. Afterwards, when you have them in your hand and you've used them, they become empty, and you have to reload them before you could use them again. Anytime you're creating or causing damage to the other players, you're going to put one of your tokens on their board to show that you've caused damage. If one of the players ever falls and they get destroyed, then you get to score all the damage. So whoever has, you score for the damage you've put on them. The majority person who has a majority of damage is going to get a bonus. Whoever did the kill shot is going to get a bonus. And then they have to take their character back until they can respawn on the next turn, and then they go again. But depending on the weapon and what you have and how you're hitting, like could be that it's melee weapon, so you need to be right next to them. Or it could be that you just need to have line of sight access to them and so on. Like it's interesting. It was a lot of fun to play. My nephew's declared this one his new favorite game ever. So that was fun. Adrenaline. Then in number 2 position, I've got Phantom Inc. My friend brought his copy over and we got playing it. This is another party game type thing. So you're playing on 2 teams. One player on each team is going to be the ghost that's going to give the clues. And the rest of the team is going to have these cards that have different questions on it. They're going to pick 2 and give them to the ghost. The ghost is going to look at them and pick 1 to discard and 1 to answer. Now, the ghosts have collaborated with each other and select a word that is the word we're trying to get everybody else to guess. So let's say the word was zombie. Say, okay, so we have what color is it, or what's something you can make using it. Well, I don't know what you can make using zombies other than maybe other zombies. So maybe I would answer what color is it, and then so I'm giving my answer, and then I would give 1 letter at a time. So G. And then my teams would let me know if they want another answer. Okay, well, if it's a color, it's G. Could be green or gray at this point, I guess. So give me a second one. R. Okay, still green or gray. So that doesn't really help. Give me one more. E. Okay. Now, depends. How do you spell gray? Do you spell gray G-R-E-Y or G-R-A-Y? Maybe you're questioning your spelling now. So like, give me one more letter. E, G-R-E-E, gree. Okay, so you're done. You say stop. That's good. Now, the other team can see all these letters. They can guess what they think the word that you're spelling out is. Is it greed? Is it green? But they have no idea what the question is. And as you go and you do these different levels and you're getting more and more words, and you can look at the other players and get their half clues because you don't know what the question is and you're not sure what the answer is, and you're trying to guess what this mystery word is. It was so neat. It was so fun. And it's one I kind of really wanted to play over Halloween. So I managed to find my own copy and it's here now. So hopefully we'll get the chance to play this soon again. But that's Phantom Inc. And then in number one position for the month of September is Legendary Marvel, a deck building game. And I just really like Legendary. So Legendary Encounters are just such neat games. So this one is all Marvel themed. So we're playing with Spider-Man and who else did we have in there? Like we had a bunch of different Marvel characters, and then there are good guys and the bad guys associated with them. We had Hydra in there, and then you're trying to complete your mission before too many villains escape, and that the bad guy gets to go through his master plan. And it's a deck building game. So you have, like your cards, and you can either hit or you can recruit. And then be like, hey, well, I can hit by 5, so I'll destroy this monster as they're making their way through the city before they escape. And then it's like, ooh, but if I hit them, it's going to cause this. And then you can take some damage as well, which in this version, the Legendary one, the damage really just clutters your hand. So be like, okay, oh, good. I've got 2 wounds in this hand, so I'm only playing with 3 cards, really. So you're not accomplishing as much. So the wounds are really bad for that. And so you're recruiting other heroes to kind of add to your hand to kind of try to get more strength behind you. It's a neat game. I really enjoy this one. So Legendary Marvel. This is a recap here of all the games that made it into my top 9. If you want to follow me on my Facebook pages, Mel and Friends Board Game Room. I'm also on Instagram as Mel_boardgame_room. I also have a podcast that I do with my friend Carla every week called The Board Game Specialist, so be sure to give that a listen. And my YouTube channel is Mel's Board Game Room, so be sure to stay tuned and see which game makes the top 9 for the month of October. Bye, everybody.